Welcome back to the Booze Bros and Cars podcast, your favorite podcast about booze and cars. And we're your hosts. I'm Eric.
Mike.
And I'm Nick.
All right. So Carmelo's not going to be on the podcast today. He's actually currently out of town at the moment due to some personal family stuff. But so aside from that, jumping into what we're going to be drinking on the podcast, I have a couple of beverages here. I have one from Tripping Animals. I've actually mentioned them once before. This is actually their Dark No Mames. It's a Mexican-style dark lager. It's actually really good. I actually really enjoy their stuff. And I actually have a old-fashioned that I'm going to be drinking tonight. So love old-fashions. They're probably one of my favorite cocktails. So I'm definitely going to be enjoying this tonight. Mike, what do you got?
Nice. I imbibed a little heavily last night, so I'm probably gonna go on the lighter end, not lighter end of the spectrum, but I'm only gonna have one tonight. So and it's 9%, so it's not that late. But Shipyard Smash Pumpkin. Sticking with the pumpkin vibe. We're getting into that time of year. The weather was weirdly cool today. Like, I was outside on the patio. Like, obviously, we went to Cars and Coffee this morning, and came back and actually went to the pool in the patio, and it was surprisingly nice outside. So I don't know, for some reason this just feels right tonight. So, Nick, what do you have?
Yeah,
I got a couple. Got a little standby of some good old Woodford Reserve bourbon. First one we're cracking open. I haven't cracked it actually open yet. Is what is this from? This is from Evil Twin Brewing out of New York City. It's called Yet Another Mexican Coffee Beer.
Nice.
Picked it up at local bottle shop number 3. Just looks pretty cool, and I'm just assuming it's like a Mexican chocolate coffee kind of flavor. So anything with a little spice in it makes me happy. Sweet. And then the other, because unlike Mike, I didn't drink anything last night, so I'm gonna hit it tonight. This is from Boulevard Brewing, another pickup from number 3. It's called the Proper Pour. It's an imperial stout, double aged in Cabernet wine barrels and whiskey barrels. Yes, as soon as I see a wine barrel aged something and then whiskey barrel on top of it, I was pretty sold. I've had some pretty magical things come out of wine barrels, whether they be bourbons or beers. So, sound like a good choice for tonight. So I'm going to start with the Mexican chocolate beer or the Mexican coffee beer and hit this one up a little later. And if I finish them all too early, get some bourbon.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm actually so the old fashioned actually used Woodford Reserve to make it. It's so good, man. I love Woodford Reserve. Actually, you were the one that actually got me hooked on that, Nick.
It is a good one.
It's a problem. It's a problem for the money. It's just right for the money. It's just right.
Oh yeah,
it's not. I love it. Is it as good as the Eagle Rare 10-year I've got, or some of the other stuff I've had? No. Is it significantly cheaper and not that much off? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They've got solid stuff. All right, so jumping into
that reminds me, you're talking about Eagle Rare. That brings me an idea for a little bit of a topic that we can do. But go ahead, Eric. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead and start it off. No. Let's go ahead and talk about that.
So, Bourbon County. We are inching closer to that time, and
yes,
probably should wait until I have a pop up Bourbon County on one of these one night. But you mentioned the Eagle Rare this year. I think just confirmed we're supposed to be actually getting bottles in our area of the Eagle Rare variant of Bourbon County this year, barrel aged in Eagle Rare barrels, as well as Angel's Envy.
Really?
Ooh.
2 different ones, yeah.
So they're going to have 2 of the big boy bottles this year.
Excited. We are, yeah. We're getting almost all the variants minus 1, basically, this year. So
I know where my wife will be on Black Friday.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. I can't wait for the Angel's Envy.
I might actually have to ask you for a huge favor, Nick, because last year when I went to North Carolina, I was not able to get anything from Bourbon County except for maybe 2 or 3 bottles.
Yeah.
So I might have to have your wife do me a favor, and I'll have to Apple Pay you guys some money to get some bottles.
Yeah. They'll have
yeah. Well, because like so in North
Um,
Carolina, when I was up there last year, the only place I could think of that I can probably go to that's a franchise that may have it is Total Wine. So the closest
mhm.
Total Wine to, because I for anybody listening on the podcast, I've got two sisters in North Carolina, and I try to go there as often as I can because I love that area. There's great food, great beer, great driving roads. I'm actually going to be going to the Tail of the Dragon when I'm up there in November. I went there last year, so had a blast. I'm going to be going back there again. But the only place that I could think of is to go to Total Wine. Do you have it? Because Mike, you've mentioned that Total Wine is a huge distributor of Bourbon County, and they have quite a bit of bottles. So the closest one to Asheville, North Carolina, and mind you, my sister lives like 20 minutes outside of it in a small town called Hendersonville. But besides the point, is Greenville, South Carolina, which is 45 minutes away. So and aside from that, the only other place that I can get it is a very small bottle shop. So it's kind of sort of like number three. I'll have to link them below. I think they're called Blue Door, or it's Blue something. I've got to find them. I follow them on Instagram. Real cool place. They're trying to tap into the Florida market for something. I can't remember what the owner said last year, but they said that they have a very very small quantity, and
Interesting.
usually they have like a line out the door for Bourbon County on Friday, and usually by the time that the last person leaves, everything is sold out. So I'm either one gonna have to wake up, ass crack of dawn, go to this freaking bottle shop early as fuck before they actually wake up, or like before they actually open, and wait, or have one of you guys pick up some bottles for me, and I'll have to pay you. So,
Well, yeah, if you're not going to be around or able to get there, even if you're working that day, just you can just shoot me some
yeah.
money
Well,
via Zelle or something, and I'll have to pick it up for you.
Yeah, well, I'll be up there in North Carolina, so
Oh
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I'm definitely not going to be working, but having to go to Blue Door and that part is going to be the issue. Having to wake up super early for beer probably going to be an issue because I'm planning on doing a lot of drinking and
So,
eating up there.
how long are you normally up there? Like, it's through Thanksgiving, right? Do you come back the
I'm gonna be
weekend, or are you gone for
so
like the whole week?
yeah. I'm leaving. So I'm leaving here Friday after work. So I'm gonna drive up there. I'm gonna stop at Jacksonville. I'm probably gonna end up seeing my buddy Chris. Crash up there, wake up super early, drive back, drive up the rest of the way, which is from Jacksonville to Hendersonville is like roughly like 8 hours or so. So breaking up the drive definitely helps instead of just doing like a whole 11-12 hour drive, which is brutal. It sucks. I've done it multiple times. So, and then when I'll get there sometime on Saturday, and then I'm gonna stay there the week, and I'm probably gonna leave Sunday like early morning. I'm gonna wake up, like I'm gonna have my car packed up. I'm taking my Corvette, obviously, so I'm gonna have everything packed up early Saturday or late Sunday night. Wake up early Sunday morning, just pack up, just put the last couple things in my car, and then just start driving back down here.
Nice. Well, the reason
So,
I
but yeah.
ask is the Bourbon County stuff. It seems like we've been getting like a very healthy pre-order amount from the brewery late,
Mhm.
over the years. Um, there's been plenty of product coming down, so there's a good chance that if you're back the week after, there's Total Wine's probably still going to have mostly everything, with the exception
Yeah.
of the Angel's Envy and
It's the big boy
the
bottles
Eagle
that
Rare.
are
Yeah,
going
Yeah.
quick every year.
the variants have been sticking around the last couple of years, seems like, but
Hmm.
the rare goes quick. So, but
Okay.
I'm
That's
excited
good to
anyway.
know because usually, so that means I can get the variants. No, I'm sorry. The variants are the ones that are usually like they just mass produce, right? And that's what
No, the
usually
Well,
variant.
is.
Well,
within
so
reason.
you have
Yeah.
original, which is OG Bourbon County. They release it every single year.
Yeah.
That is the base for everything, and then the variants are basically spin-offs of that. But those are the ones that are a
Okay.
little more rare. And there's usually two variants that come out that are pretty highly produced. So there's plenty of product
Okay.
for that normally lands at the shelves, but it's the rare. Usually the crazy exotic barrel stuff. That's
Okay.
usually the ones that go quick.
Send me the
So
names for those. What I may just end up doing is just going to
yep,
that
we'll do.
Blue Door place in Hendersonville. and I'll just if they have both or they have one or the other, I'll just buy it, and then when I come down, I'll just buy the rest. I can do that too, because I was there today and I noticed that they had Bourbon County from 2020, so last year's Bourbon County, but they had like a few bottles left. Obviously, it's September at this point, so they don't have that many.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah. All right, so jumping into car talk. So briefly, wanted to touch base on Formula One today. If I know you guys didn't see the race, but the race today was very exciting. There was a lot of fights going on track, and I'm not, when I say fights, I don't mean people getting out of the cars and fighting each other. I mean, they're just like battling each other on track. That actually, dude, they should definitely do like a Formula One and hockey thing where like if you bump somebody, you just jump out of each other's car and start beating the shit out of each other. That would be entertaining. But or they usually do like 5-second penalties and things like that for whoever loses, or if somebody does something bad, it's a 5-second penalty, so they can do something similar. But Max Verstappen
crack somebody's skull with a helmet.
Yeah, right. But Max Verstappen, he actually won his 10th consecutive win this weekend. So congratulations to him. The dude, I mentioned this before. Dude's like a machine behind the steering wheel of that Red Bull. Dude's an animal. But yeah, congratulations to Max for doing that. And actually, it's the first driver to actually do that ever in Formula One history. So he's definitely going down, in the Formula One history books for doing that. And next up, I'm kind of excited to hear about this. Yeah, for sure. Next up, I'm kind of excited to hear about this. I know Nick has his thoughts or his opinions on this, but Nissan actually did announce that they're going to do something that is going to make the streets of the United States so much safer. And they're killing off the Nissan Altima. The reason why I'm saying that they're making the streets safer is because Nissan Altima drivers are known for, at least in the car community, as being one of the most ridiculous drivers out there. There's an ongoing joke saying that the Nissan Altima is the fastest car in the world, and it's because I'll just show you guys a clip of it, and I'll post a clip right here. Actually, I'll take that back. I'm not going to post one clip. I'm going to post multiple clips right here.
And that drive Nissan Altimas are the biggest red flags in the world. Either going to work at UPS, be a nursing aid assistant, or work at a fast food restaurant. I know the type of Altima drivers I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones that have been rear-ended. The windows got tape over them because her old dude done bust the windows out. The front clip look like it's about to fall off. Her headlights are taped up. These cars real deal give me PTSD because for some reason they the fastest car in Memphis. I've seen these things go toe-to-toe with Hellcats. My Memphians know what I'm talking about. She got her fans only, but only 7 people paid for it. For some reason, these women all have anger issues and be the main ones starting shit. If she drive this in general, any Nissan, hell, even a Nissan Sentra, you are not the only dude. These are the type of women that ask you to pay their rent the first day of y'all talking about trying to date each other. I'm on y'all last. Like, seriously, you can hear the brakes squealing in this picture.
I don't know which Nissan driver need to hear this. Matter of fact, this to all the Nissan drivers. Nissan Altima, Nissan Maxima, Nissan Pathfinder, any Nissan.
And so you guys saw, Nissan Altima drivers are ridiculous. They're obnoxious. They want to race everybody. It's like I don't get it. Like I've had my fair share of Nissan Altima drivers wanting to race me in my Corvette. I think I've had like 2 or 3. And
and this is coming from someone that owned a Nissan Maxima, so you're right there. You're almost there, pal. Come on.
Maxima, not Altima, but close.
I mean, it's
similar.
just a big douchier brother, but okay. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am fond of this decision. I'd be fond if Nissan stopped selling everything other than the Titan, Frontier, and GTR and just effed off. They are the bane of the existence of the auto industry as far as I'm concerned as a brand. And they are my least favorite car to look at, to appraise. And, you know, it's not the owner's fault half the time. It is just the values are terrible. The reliance is terrible. The transmissions are terrible. And they are just ridiculous vehicles. I mean, we always joke about it, right? They're the baby mama cars of the world. It's what every guy's baby mama's driving, a busted, clapped out Nissan Altima, zipping around with a fart can on it and a terrible sounding CVT. It's just this is one of those cars that I think about, or I see one on the road driving like an absolute complete douchebag, and I just get fired up about it. And I promptly then, admittedly, possibly ride their ass in my Explorer because it looks like a cop car, and watch them sweat, and I love it. You know, especially when you see them like start putting shit down, and like, you know, it's because the other thing is down here, you know, we're in a medical state for marijuana. Everyone on behind, absolutely skunky as shit. I mean, the windows could be up and I can smell this damn thing. It is absolutely ridiculous, and they just need to go away. The people that think they're great cars need to go away as well. They are an abomination. That's my thought. Now, with this story, I also saw another rumor that goes along with this that I'm not going to say it's good or bad. Honestly, I think it's bad. And not because of what it is. I care less about the car. They're also talking about killing off the Versa after 2025 as well.
Oh.
So, although I despise the Altima and most of the drivers, especially on one that's, let's say, 5+ years old, my issue with this is, and I feel like we brought this up in a previous podcast, is manufacturers in the U.S. are adamant that people don't want sedans in this country. And I don't know who's smoking more crack, the Nissan Altima drivers or the people that have decided that Nissan and every other brand, because it's a fuel-efficient vehicle. Some of them are fun. And we're just basically saying, hey, you want something affordable? Sub 25 grand? F you. Here's a small SUV for 35, though. Smallest, cheapest thing we got. And it's what all the brands are doing there. So this is what Americans want. This is that. I mean, me and Mike have talked about this. Eric, too. What do we want? We want friggin' wagons based on sedans. We want fun little sedans with rear-wheel drive and stick shifts. We want all the shit the Europeans get and the Japanese get. You know, and South America, too, for that matter, for some of the cool little trucks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we can't just get it. Now, this is a rant going far off from the Altima, but this is my concern with the killing of all the sedans in the U.S.
Well,
It drives me nuts.
With this Nissan Altima thing, right? Like, I agree. Like, I really don't think them as a manufacturer, the Altima disappearing doesn't bother me at all. I think they look terrible. Nissan's cars these days just look awful to me. But you know, with that going away, like you said, that's one more loss for the U.S. as far as sedans go. So
yeah.
What and you said the Versa. So what is their lineup going to look like? Are they trying to go the same direction as everybody else and do SUVs
Maxima,
and trucks?
Yeah, it's pretty much going to be Maxima, a couple pickup trucks, a GTR, the Z.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder.
And then you've got some small SUVs.
What do you think that they're going to do with? Oh, that's right. That's right.
Well, the Sentra's in a very rich market because you've got the Sentra, the Corolla, the
Elantra,
K5 now from Kia, the Elantra. So that's your small sedan market that's pretty rich, which surprised me with the Altima because it's competing with the Camry, the Sonata, the Fusion that I wish Ford still made since I sell them, and it's a great little car. Or that might have even been Taurus size. I don't even know at this point. But yeah, it's just it's Fusion. But yeah, there's still a market there, and other brands have proven it. So it's one of two things. Either Nissan said we're going the way that every other that domestic brands have gone and just going to kill off sedans, or they've simply realized it's not up to par with the competition and it's wasted R&D and wasted production. I'm actually going to lean towards they've decided that car is not up to par. They're probably having money issues at this point after all these years of making garbage. Sorry, not really. But and then they're probably going to redirect that. They're probably making the trucks better, to making the SUVs better. And my God, do I hope they do that, because we talked about this before the podcast. The bane of my existence when I do appraisals on used cars is Nissan Rogues. And I've seen some that are in great condition, right? 4 or 5 years old, great condition. And almost every single customer that I deal with is upside down. right? These things tank in value, whether or not they've rolled negative equity or like it's such an unfortunate thing. And I got to be the person to go down there and tell this customer, like, sorry you bought this car. Financially, it has kind of put you in a bad situation. No matter how good or bad of a deal you got, the car has no value compared to competitors after 4 or 5 years. It's kind of an unfortunate thing, and they've become known to be unreliable messes, especially with the powertrains and the transmissions. So
Yeah,
and it
I
kind
can't
of
even imagine the amount that you get as well. Just people, like you said earlier, I think that most of the Ultimas that you see kind of look the same. They all have some fender damage. They all have a door handle missing. They all have bumper pieces hanging off of it. It's like the people that drive Nissan Altimas just drive like maniacs all the time. They think they have a race car, but it's not. It's a sedan, but they whatever. So I can only imagine on the appraisal side, like how often you have to break people's hearts and say, well, this thing's a piece of junk and we're not going to give you any money for it. So sorry.
It's a pain. Like I said today, I had somebody today owed 24 grand, was hoping to get out of this thing. Low miles, good condition as far as I could tell and everything I could see. From my understanding, they didn't get a bad deal. They are $10,000 upside down in their loan.
And it's just so sad for
maybe
brand,
9, maybe to squeeze it, but they're in a bad spot.
It's just so sad for a brand that also has like legitimate performance cars. Like look at the Nissan GTR.
The GTR.
Look at the 400Z. Like these are cars that people like absolutely adore and they love and they perform incredibly well. And then they just have the other end of the spectrum where everything on the entry level basis is just garbage. So and maybe they realize that. Maybe that's what Nissan's doing now. Though is they're kind of trimming the fat.
I think it is. I think it's going to be a redirection of funds.
Yeah.
In production.
But
I hope they do. I don't want to see them go away. I want to see them fix the issues and stay around.
Yeah.
They're a good competitor and they make some good cars. Some.
So here's my question to you, Nick, because you can probably have a little bit more insight on this than any one of us. Would it be a bad idea for them to actually kill off the Nissan Altima? Because if the Altima itself, it's pretty much one of the bread and butters of Nissan because they sell so many of them. Would it be like a profit loss for them by killing off this car instead of killing off something else? Like, let's just say, for instance, like you mentioned that they're going to kill off the Versa. So would it be a better idea to kill off maybe the Altima? Or no, I'm sorry, not the Altima. They're killing that off, but like the Maxima. Because like realistically, you guys can agree, the Maxima, all it is a high-end Nissan missing infinity badges because you can just buy a Q50 and that's a Nissan Altima. It's just rear-wheel drive. So would it be smarter for Nissan to? Yeah, exactly. Proper car. And it comes turbo too. But would it be smarter for them to kill off the Altima? I'm sorry, the Maxima than killing off the Altima?
I mean, honestly, I've never been a Maxima fan, and recently that's now in a weird market where there's not a lot of competition. I mean, really, what have you got? Like Hyundai doesn't make the Azera, at least in this country anymore. You've got the Avalon, which is a much nicer vehicle. I don't care what anybody out there wants to argue about. It's a much nicer, more reliable, better reselling vehicle from industry standpoint. My brand or any of the domestic brands don't have any competitors anymore. Kia, I think, killed off the Cadenza, so there's that. So really, that whole market the Maxima is in is a dying market, and for the most part, Toyota owns it at this point, which isn't a bad thing for the people. It really isn't. So financially, I think the Maxima would probably have been a better decision, unless they're going to push it. Maybe they're going to try and make the Maxima a little bit more affordable and be able to cross over a couple different demographics. I mean, it's hard to say without, insider knowledge into Nissan. And what is it? Nissan, Peugeot, and Mitsubishi now are all tied up together. So it's truly tough to say without knowing what's going on in their minds and what they're doing. But yeah, personally, I think the Altima would have made more sense from a financial portion for consumers to keep around and dump the Maxima. and I think the Sentra they should definitely keep around as well. Like I'm a fan of affordable, if you want to call them cheap, whatever, inexpensive small sedans because I think the market needs them. I think people need them. The big sedans are just get a small SUV. They end up costing the same and they're more usable. And it's not like we're talking about a rear wheel drive fun car to drive. Like it's just a front wheel drive economy sedan with a big price tag because they threw some leather in it and some bad technology.
Yeah, so it's like using Nissan as an example. It's like comparing the Maxima to like a Rogue because it's essentially like the same size, right? Just the Rogue is just an SUV, obviously.
Kind of, sort of. I think the Rogue, because we always talk about, like, again, my time with Hyundai, the Elantra was a Tucson, the Sonata was basically underpinning for a Santa Fe. I would tell you that the Altima is more the Rogue, the Maxima is more the Murano. Which I think from Murano, I don't see them very often, but they're pretty nice SUVs, right? That's kind of one of those outliers for Nissan that they made a pretty solid vehicle, except for that hideous convertible version. That was a travesty.
That was like what 1 year that they made
right
that
up there with a couple years. And people love them, man. But that's why
I don't know.
Yeah, but they also Lambo did the convertible for a while.
Oh, the Evoque, really?
I think that was good. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
was it the Evoque? Yeah.
I think it was the Evoque, which was like a cool little coupe-looking SUV, and then they were like, "Let's put a drop top on it."
Yeah, but you see, like
people don't need
the. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, you're good. Go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna say, so like it's touching base on Land Rover. I've heard that they've had so many quality control issues. It's not even funny. Like at one point, I've heard that they're
always have.
Yeah, like their front windshields.
British car company.
And that's everything that came from Britain for a while.
Yeah.
Now that they're owned by Tata Motors out of India, the quality control seems to be better for both them and Jaguar. But no, they're just not known for being the most reliable things. And I have to say, with that, goes with potentially any high-end vehicle with a shit ton of what they all consider different little CPUs and computers. There's so much technology and electronics in these things. It's rarely the drivetrains or the mechanicals that go bad. It's something in the technology that usually causes problems, and then you're backtracking wiring. It's like you basically got to plug into the matrix to find a damn problem on these things. Like, so that's really where your problem comes. Any high-line luxury car with a shit ton of technology is going to have issues. Any car with any tech, I don't care if it's Highliner or not, mainstream. Anything with that much technology, that's where you're going to have your problems.
Yeah, well, I know that
this goes back to talking about electric vehicles too. I mean, So that was the point that I was going to make. Going back to Nissan, I just read an article on a website that said that they're shifting focus to work on 19 new EVs before 2030. So that's
19.
Nissan. Yeah. According to
19
a website called
different
Electric. After accelerating its electrification strategy, earlier this year, the automaker plans to introduce 19 new EVs by 2030. So they're basically killing off some old brands, gas-powered vehicles like the Altima, and they're going to be shifting a lot of that attention.
My God, do I hope they partnered with somebody like Rimac or something, because that's going to be an.
Well, I mean, I think we're going to see more and more of this. I mean, it's just the way that
which is funny because consumers aren't asking for it, from what I see. Industry professionals are telling them to F off because we're having a hell of a time selling them. There's no infrastructure for charging, and everybody's like, "Well, California's doing this." Yeah, California also puts out notices on busy weekends saying, "Hey, everybody, don't charge your car at the same time. The grid will crash." Like, come on.
Okay,
like,
so
you gotta be absolutely shitting me.
So you started a whole different conversation because first off, I'm gonna say this as clearly as I fucking can. Fuck California, because they have so many stupid ass emission laws that honestly, I don't know why anybody wants to live in California. Fuck that whole bullshit of like, oh my God, it's a beautiful state. We have nice weather. Okay, you know what? Florida has nice weather during the wintertime. Our winners. Because honestly, we saw the story. It got blasted all over social media. I'll see if nobody's seen this video, I'll post it right here.
Hey guys, I'm Motor Officer Kenwright.
Hey, officer, how you doing?
Doing okay. Hey, what year is this vehicle?
22.
Why is it backfiring?
It's
Making noise.
I know, it's how it comes stock.
Really?
Yeah, you can check under the hood if you'd like.
Oh no, I'll just send you to the state rep, and what they'll do is send you back to the factory to have whatever. Is it in track mode?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so what they're going to do here, let me have your license. So what happens is I send you to the state rep. All right, state rep, we're here in California. They're going to suspend your registration.
Okay.
You can't drive the car. You got to go take it to the state rep. They're going to look at it. They're going to send you back to the dealer. The dealer has to remove the track options. You have to pay for it. It's about $4,000. Once that's been done, you go back to the state rep to verify all the track modes have been removed. You cannot drive this on the road with the track mode.
Oh, I can't?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Well, you won't be able to anymore. You've just lost this. You're going to spend about $7,000 on this car right now. Go ahead and get me the registration. I don't need to look under the hood.
Okay.
You can't track rally motor illegal on the road.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Well, it's your money, not mine.
Right.
They tell you this at the dealer. If not, you could sue the dealer for the money. Tell them you want your $4,000 or $5,000 back.
Sure. Yeah, they didn't tell me that.
No, I'm sure they did. They're required by law.
Oh, is that
You
so?
cannot operate track mode on the road.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they didn't tell me that.
Well,
so.
then I would sue them, all right, for this ticket.
Okay.
And it's a video of this dude driving an Elantra N. It's a stock Elantra N.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know which
track
video I'm
mode.
talking about. Yes, on track mode, just to hear the gargoyle pops. And this fucking cop, and I'm gonna go on a rampage here. This fucking cop pulled this dude over, and he sounded like he was getting. No, I love Carmelo, but California is fucking obnoxious. And they pulled this kid over, and the fucking cop sounded like he got his jollies off, pulling this kid over because he was using the car or driving the car on track mode. And he's like, oh, well, now you got to take it to a sheriff station and you have to get a fix-it ticket and they have to tow it to a dealership and you have to pay so much money to remove the track mode. So now what? So the car that you bought the car for, to take it to the track if you wanted to, or take it to autocross, you can no longer use it for that because track mode is not going to be eliminated. So because of that,
They also
fuck
suspended
California.
his registration.
They
suspended
did.
his registration on the car, and they may have suspended his license too. I can't remember.
But yeah, so fuck California. California's the shittiest fucking state in the United States, aside from New York. Fuck New York too.
It's all right.
Um,
the Marianas Trench eventually is going to split them off into the Pacific Ocean, and they'll be fine. But
Fuck, I
so
hope
it's funny you bring up California and all the chaos over there, and just the dumb shit we deal with in the automotive stuff. So I had a young kid today, 19 years old, just signed with the Minnesota Twins minor league. So he's down here for training and stuff like that, right? Nice kid, very nice kid, very young, just out of college, like got signed out of college as a pitcher. So good for him. He's probably gonna do some great things. Hell of a sign-on bonus, right? And in the beginning, not a crazy monthly income, but a good nice sign-on bonus to get him out here.
No, for sure.
I had to find a Mustang in my inventory that he wanted and make sure that it was a 50 states emission car because he wanted to register in California because he's still there a portion of the year. I didn't have an address down here yet. So I had to jump through hoops to make sure I had the right car for him that would be okay with California to register in their state, even if it's barely there. You've got to be this is just a bit. And
so
thankfully almost if not all GT Mustangs are. But like, dude, like come on, man. I shouldn't have to work this hard to sell a car, find the right vehicle for somebody because the state they want to register it in when they're going to be there 4 months of the year.
So I'm
dumb.
assuming. So you said something interesting. So you said that most Ford Mustangs or for most GTs would be legal in the state of California. I'm assuming it's one that has it's a base GT 5.0 with no add-ons. Because I'm assuming that the biggest thing that would kill emissions is going to be like an aftermarket exhaust or like an intake filter or some stupid shit like that, right?
It's CO2 emissions related. So there are some brands, and Ford might. I've never had to deal with this, so I frankly don't know. I rarely pull my invoices to see what the emission standards are on my cars. It doesn't matter in Florida. But some cars are listed as 50 state emissions. Some aren't because some of them are federal emissions. Some of them are CARB or California emissions. And it's basically has to do with, the intake flow and all that kind of stuff. The CO2 emissions, but it's heavily with some of them have different exhaust and catalytic converter setups. So cars that are 50 state emissions have all the proper CARB certifications for California emissions and the proper CO2 emission levels and all that nonsense. So it's just that it's all emissions related really, but obviously as we talked about, they hate exhaust work and stuff like that, all that kind of nonsense.
Lame.
That's why, dude. Honestly, I would never register a car outside of the state of Florida because, I mean, we don't have to deal with that bullshit. Like, I can, I mean, hell, even my Speed 3, if I needed to take it for emissions when I had it, it had no cats, no resonators. It was literally straight pipe from the turbo back. I can drive it fine. It's legal in Florida. I can drive it just fine with no issues whatsoever. That's why I love Florida because no emissions and fuck that whole bullshit. The only thing that I wish is that I wish that we had better roads to drive on. I mean, we have maybe one road that we can actually say that we actually really enjoy driving on, which is I'm not gonna name it. It's in Alva.
Don't name it.
You know which one it is.
Don't name it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna name it, but you guys know what it is. And if anybody
has to do with a certain tree, in a body of water.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
yes.
so we also live in a sort of unfortunate area as well. Our footprint is growing. A lot of our roads are straight. There's no curvy.
Yeah,
there's
it's
really
a
no
grid.
curvy
It's a grid
roads.
work.
That's when you're talking Cape Coral, you're talking Southwest Florida, even further out into the state now. I mean, you have to basically travel east, and get far out before you can find anything really fun for the most part. But that's what it is. Like you said, at least we don't have all the emission hoops to jump through and all the modification and you have to take your car in to get a stamp put on it. It's like, come on.
I had to do it every couple years in Jersey. You get a 4-year pass on a new car and on use anything else every 2 years. And if you had a check engine light on, even had nothing to do with emissions, instant fail. Had to go get it figured out. I mean, it was a real pain. But even Jersey, they used to do rollover tests. They don't even do that anymore. Now it's just emissions. Ohio is another state I lived in for a little bit. For college, they did they call it e-check. It's an emissions check as well. New York, basically. I'm not going to necessarily claim my affiliation. However, there's a certain political affiliation that most states have some outrageously restrictive laws. Just going to put it out there as that.
Yeah, and we all have the same mindset here. So yes, agreed. But no, so what you were saying, Mike, about like you have to go east to be able to find decent driving roads. Not really, man. I mean,
when I say east, I mean
dude,
east
there's
of
not a lot.
I mean east of I-75.
No, not even.
And if you get up,
we've never really explored that much past like Alva area and stuff like that.
I can say one road that we've taken that has actually been fun because it's not even in our county, but we like driving on and
29, like up that way.
I was gonna say Kanye Road 17, which is the road that we take to go up to Sebring.
Yeah,
that road is actually pretty fun. It's usually like along like a very straight stretch, but there are some hills that you can take that are on the road.
Yep.
And there are some decent banks that you can actually have some fun with.
Dip into the orange groves there, and yeah.
Which, dude, Nick, the 1 year that you and I ended up going to Walmart from Sebring, like ass crack of dawn, because we were freezing our asses off. Dude, I still remember that morning because, dude, you and I, it was like 30 degrees, and you and I just were like, fuck this. We're like, screw this. We're gonna go to Walmart because it's cold as hell. So we were driving in. I think we cracked on the window just a little bit, just to get some ventilation because I think you slept in my dad's Jeep, which we used that year.
Yep.
And
I was cold. I was that cold. I had to turn the heater on.
Yeah. So the car was hot, so we just cracked the windows open, and dude, like the orange grove, like just the smell of the orange, the orange blossom, just went into the car, and I was like, oh my god, dude, it smells so good. That's probably by far one of my favorite memories of Sebring, and it wasn't even on the track. It was just a cool memory of just like with the orange blossoms and things like that. But yeah, that's County Road 17 is a fun road. But aside from that, honestly, like I've gone to Orlando and I've hung out with a few friends, and there's not really a ton of fun roads there. A lot of the guys that actually want to do anything motorsports related in Orlando, they get into drifting because there's OSW or Orlando Speed World, and they have open track days, and you can do private events and things like that. Aside from that, Miami doesn't have fun roads because it's so congested and there's so much traffic.
Well, and the
Same with
problem
Fort
is,
Lauderdale and
look
West
at-
Palm Beach.
Like, look at Florida. It's flat. There's very little obstructions to roads. Everything is north and south. I mean, there's not. I mean, you jog across on Alligator Alley or something, but it's just long straight roads. There's no fun geographical features that you have to kind of navigate around, unfortunately. So, like when you look at like going to the Dragon, you go up in the mountains. Like, there's tons of cool roads up there just because you're trying to navigate up a mountain. So down here, it's just flat and stupid. There's nothing. But
Hey, speaking of some flat, straight roads, sounds like in a couple of weeks we might get some drag racing going.
Yes,
needs to happen.
Yes,
needs to happen.
So it's so we're actually all planning to go to Mike. Are you gonna go that day, or is it just gonna be me and Nick?
I'm gonna try. That's because it's a Friday.
Okay.
Right?
Oh yeah, no, it's Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Saturday, but it's like
Saturday
late.
night, and it's
I can probably make that happen.
Yeah, and it's your buddy calling me
no,
out,
yeah.
so you better have your ass there if I go after work.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be fun. Ford Explorer ST versus BMW X3M. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
So
semi seriously modified,
yeah,
bolt-ons.
So
I don't really know what all he's got because he bought it that way. So
yeah, it's got some juice.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so the event is it's Streetcar Takeover, is that right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I have it pulled up. It's a Street Heat. It's a
Street
Summit
Heat.
Racing
Street Heat.
Yep.
Street Heat. Okay.
Yeah.
So, which man, I said it earlier today. I gotta call my buddy to see if he wants to tag along with us. But we're gonna be going up to Bradenton Motorsports in a couple weekends, and we're gonna go for. It's more like it's not professional. It's just more like amateur, just drag racing, I guess you can say it. So we're all gonna be going to this track, and we're gonna. I'm gonna register my car, so I'm gonna take my Corvette so we can go race. Nick's probably gonna kill me off the line, but I should say that I was in Mexico today. I visited Mexico today very briefly, and there was a Mercedes. What is it? What is that SUV called? The CLA. It's not the small one. It's the one that's bigger.
They're all G.
One.
So there's GLA, GLB, GLC, GLE, and GLS.
Okay, so it's probably the GLA. And like this older guy, he followed me to Mexico and he wanted to play around. And I was surprised that, I mean, granted, it's a pretty decent sized SUV.
So was it
door
an
to door with
AMG?
him until, yeah, I think so, because he had some gargoyle pops on that thing. So
If
it wasn't.
it was an AMG, even the smallest engine AMG now in the G line is 400 horsepower, two-cylinder turbo, or four-cylinder turbo, 2 liters.
Things are pretty.
They are.
So it's probably
rowdy.
the AMG. So it's probably the AMG. But let's just say that him and I, and like me and my Corvette, and him and his GLA, we ran it, and I was surprised that my Corvette. I mean, like I didn't even launch it hard off the line, but I was door to door with him the whole time until I slammed it into second gear, and then that's when I started to pull away from him, and then he had to pull into a shopping center. But I was surprised. I was like, holy shit, my Corvette can keep up to an AMG. And I visited Mexico before with a BMW. What is the SUV? The X3 or X5? It was one of those. He had intake, exhaust, and a tune, and my car was okay. So it's probably the X5. And it was like door to door with him the whole time too. And then I slammed it into third gear, and that's when I started to slowly pull away from him. So, but yeah, visiting Mexico is fun. So staying here locally in Florida is going to be nice, and going up to Bradenton so we can see what the Corvette can do, because I plan on running Nick's ST. And honestly, I'm probably just going to run your buddy. I don't care if I lose. It's just going to be something for fun, So, and plus, I'm not big into drag racing. I don't really care about high horsepower. Do I want a fast car? Heck yeah. We all do. We're all car guys. We want fast cars. But, I'm just more about turns.
I just know
turns.
because
Turns excite me more.
Bradenton, do they do roll racing, or is it only
So
is
the
it
roll
only
racing
from
on that
a
day is earlier in the day. I can't make it for the roll racing. I'm
man.
off at 6, and
Well-
drag racing starts at 7:30. It's perfect.
Well, and
So I'm
that
gonna
bodes
wife
well
and
for
kids
you
meet
because
me, and we're gonna
you've
shoot
got all-wheel
up.
drive. But like for Eric,
Yeah.
like it would be really interesting to see like your SUV versus Eric on a roll. Because
I
like
kind of know how that'll go because let's say I visited Mexico, and a buddy of mine's got a like a 21 or 22 GT Mustang, was a 10-speed. This one's unmodded. Unfortunately, his last one that was very nicely modded was taken in Hurricane Ian, turned into a submarine.
Oh,
So this is his replacement. It's a nice California Special Edition. From a dig, it's embarrassing for him, which we expected. Just because I hook instantly and just off I go if I boost brake a little bit. But from a roll, even if I get the hit, I hang with him for a second and then he slowly walks me, which at 450 horsepower and way less weight than me, I expect. So I know my limitations from a roll because I'm driving a friggin' vehicle with the aerodynamics of a brick that weighs 5,000 pounds with me in it, a full tank of gas, if not a little more than that. So I'm also rolling around right now with my my lowering springs in the back. Those are 50 pounds. So just in a box.
Oh.
So I've got a lot of extra weight in it, and it's pretty good. But from a launch, even if I bring it up to a couple thousand RPMs just to get the boost going and go, I mean, it's just gone. So it's I know roll racing as of my current tuning and modifications for me versus anything with a V8. Yeah, it's a no go.
it's going to be interesting,
Yeah,
to say the least.
yeah. Mike, talk to your buddy and see what time he wants to head over to Bradenton so we can caravan up there. We can probably get
I'm
up there
just
a
gonna
little bit
have to
earlier
ride with
than they
somebody.
can.
I
mean,
don't even want any of my vehicles to be in the vicinity. So
I mean,
My-
technically,
my
You
so
want to run the Miata?
so here's the
yeah,
thing.
oh yeah, that'd be a fun ET.
Yeah, so I mean, like, so here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to like run. So if you just want to go
No.
up there and just do like park, then I think it's like your entry fee is like $10 or $20.
$20 for a
That's-
spectator.
Okay, so $20 for a spectator. Racing is probably what, like $60-$80 or something.
Nah, racing seems to be like cheaper than a friggin' spectator, man.
Is it really?
That's how they get you.
Yeah,
They want you to go up and
it's
race.
$20. Well, it's $20 per person for the admission, and then a tech card to race is $10. So I guess it's $30 for a driver.
Wow,
That's not bad.
nothing.
No,
That's not bad
That's what
at
I mean.
all.
This is my first time at a proper drag strip with my own vehicle and actually running it. So this is gonna be a learning experience for me for like launching with the tree and stuff like that. But that's pretty
You
damn
have
cheap
launch-
for my first
you have
time.
launch control.
He
mean,
does,
Kinda,
but
it's kind of tuned in. It basically my launch
Yeah.
control simply allows me to hopefully not detonate my transmission and also activate the brake and the gas at the same time because normally the brake kills the throttle. That's the only
but
thing my
it's-
launch
it's
control
an,
is.
It's an automatic with all-wheel drive, and it's heavy. Like you're gonna launch like no problem. Eric is
Oh,
gonna,
I'm sure I'm going to be fine.
Mr. Professional Drifter over there is gonna he's gonna have the hard time finding traction in the vet. I think more than anything.
I hate to say this, I'm not that worried about the vet from a drag. The X3M, I have some concerns.
Yeah.
I have some reservations on that one, but he called me out for a little fun run,
Yep.
and it's a legit track, so I'm down. And then I'm either gonna be like, oh, that was fun, or I'm gonna be like, F this, I need injectors, intake, and the turbo upgrade, and I'm gonna go off the deep end. I don't know. We're gonna see.
So I'm gonna give you some advice.
I know what you
about
hope.
drag
I know
racing.
you guys hope I go off the deep end and just
Oh, I don't
build
I
a
don't hope
700
anything.
horsepower bandwagon.
Might as well.
Listen, I'm not gonna hope for anything. You can do as you please to your ST as you want, but a little bit of advice about drag racing. It's completely different than doing it on the street because it's so much stickier. So realistically, you either have to launch at a lower RPM so you don't snap axles, or you're gonna launch at a higher RPM and hope you don't snap axles. I'm just gonna throw that out there. because those tracks are sticky, especially for
So
which. Yeah, go ahead.
I know people with the ST that are way more boosted than I am that are launching at 3,800 or 4,000 RPMs, and and their axles are fine. It's the transmission at that point. Most of them have built transmissions with upgraded torque converters with a higher stall. I'd probably launch around 3,000 RPMs based on what I'm reading. My axles will be fine. It's my transmission that, unless I decide to build it in the future, is the thing I have to be careful with. And at that point, now my tuner also offers a trans brake. So if I ever decide to build it,
Yeah, you don't.
I can
You
get
don't
real
want
stupid.
You don't want your transmission to exit chat while you're in Bradenton. I don't think that would be a very
I mean,
fun test drive.
the only plus side is I can get a new one at cost, but I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
I'd rather realize that's a weak point and build it before that happens.
Yeah, because for you to be stranded at Bradenton and then have to get a tow from Bradenton, it's like a little over an hour, so that's gonna suck.
Hour and a half, but yeah.
But yeah, no, I should. Well, I mean, it should be like roughly.
It's an hour and a half to the dealership. I checked it today.
Oh, is it? Because it's
Yeah.
it's really not that far away. Granted,
It's not bad. It's just for me, it's getting out of Fort Myers and stuff.
Yeah, it's a couple counties up, but I mean, from my house to Corporate Ladder, which is just north of Bradenton Motorsports, it's like an hour 20 minutes. It's probably an hour and 30 to Bradenton because it's more inland because you have to get off at Lakewood Ranch, which is I think
Well, to be
2
clear,
exits.
too, I looked at it today at 6:30 p.m.
Yeah. Traffic.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're basing
Well,
off of
so I looked at it at the
traffic,
proper
yeah.
time when I would be no, I looked at it last night, a little after when I would normally close and leave. I was closing last night, so I was stuck late, so I was looking it up. And that being said, it was an hour and 32 minutes. Now I know once I hit 75, I'm going to shave some minutes off. So I know it'll be a little less than that, but it's perfect. Gates start dragging at 7:30. I'm off at 6.
Yeah, because there's no traffic, so it should be a smooth drive up there.
Right, on a Saturday night, it should be pretty. It's just getting to 75. Once into 75, it should be smooth sailing from there.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, man, we really derailed this conversation.
Yeah,
all
right.
Gone on some
But it's
tangents.
car
I think
related
time
and
for,
racing.
It is. It is.
Beverage recap.
Yeah, so I was actually just going to say that. I can kind of kick it off. So Old Fashioned, awesome. I love Old Fashioned, as I mentioned. It does have, oh my God. I drew a blank of what bourbon I used. Or what whiskey I used.
That's what happens when you have multiple old
I
fashions.
thought you said you were having Woodford Reserve.
Yeah, Woodford Reserve. I made mine a little bit differently than usual or more proper. But I used the Old Smoky. They have, which I love Old Smoky. Old Smoky is awesome. But I used their cherries instead of using the Martino cherries. Because why not? Moonshine infused cherries in a moonshine or in an old fashioned, why not, right? So it was great. I loved it. The No Mames, love it. I love Tripping Animals, as I mentioned before. They're super good. I love their beer. They never let me down. The brewery's awesome. I've mentioned this before. We need to make a trip down there and visit them. They're awesome. And a couple of other breweries on there too. I did just crack open another beer, which is Shipyard's Pumpkinhead. I know that Nick is having a Shipyard beer, so I picked this up earlier today.
Mike's got the Shipyard,
or Mike has a Shipyard, but pick this up. This is actually a really good beer.
Tipsy Eric is funny.
He loses track real fast.
I do.
Tipsy Eric is funny.
Yeah, so I'm going to be enjoying some Pumpkinhead beer while we finish up the podcast. Mike, what about your beer?
So you're drinking like the little sister to this one then, because this is basically It's basically Pumpkinhead, but it's the reason it's smashed is because it's 9%, so it's an imperial version of that one.
Oh,
It's good.
I gotta find
It's
that.
got it's good. Total Wine has it. You know what? Number 3 might even have it. Brandon might have brought a case in, but anyway, regardless, it's comparing it to like Pumpkin. Pumpkin has a lot more of the spice notes to it. It's got a lot more of the sweetness from the cinnamon and the nutmeg and all that. This is like more of like a really mild pumpkin pie, but like a little boozy. It's good. It's drinking.
Okay. So
drinking
so
pretty well.
so
Doing
what
I
are you
need it to
saying
do.
is what are you saying is top or Southern tier is top tier?
Pumpkin is the king for a reason. It's better. It's better.
So
That's
speaking of that, I went to number 3. We were at number 3 Friday.
We did.
I was talking to Brandon as I was checking out. I don't know how the conversation came up. Started talking about bourbon, scotch, something like that. I don't even know how it came up. And he was like, "Oh, I didn't know you like bourbon." I'm like, yeah, man. It's like, I love it. It's my go-to. He's like, "Oh, come over here." So he brings me over. He's got like a little shelf with his private stash of bourbons, and he pulls out like a Eagle Rare 10-year, and I'm like, "Got that same bottle at home." He's like, "Okay." He goes back in. He gets a Whistle Pig 10-year that was aged and done with Garagiste meadery in Tampa. Yeah, it was delicious.
really
So next time you're in there, ask him about it. He's got it stashed away under some towels in the back corner where they have their little can chiller. It's stuffed back there in his little private stash. That's where he keeps his bourbons on hand.
That's awesome.
So I did a shot with him that night, and it was delicious.
We actually have to go back there soon because I told him too, because I didn't realize he was going to be there Friday because the last couple of times that we were there, he wasn't there on a Friday. Which I mean, all right. So we always talk about number 3. We got to give them a shout out. Number 3 is awesome. Brandon is awesome. Great dude. Probably by far my Nick's and all of us here, our favorite bottle shop because they're just a small mom and pop shop and they're super cool. Mm-hmm. Mark is awesome. Brandon is awesome.
It's father and son, and they're both awesome. Yeah, I mean they're both good guys.
Oh, for sure.
So, to give you an idea, I told him when I wanted a keg of pumpkin, if he couldn't get me a pumpkin, I'll take a Warlock if one of those are available somehow. Mm-hmm. So what's he do? He orders them both. He tells me on Friday when I was just there the other day, he's like, "Hey, I got a keg of Warlock. If somebody else asks for it, I'll sell it because I know you wanted the pumpkin first, and you didn't ask me to order it. But when you're ready, if it's available, it's yours. Like I ordered it with you in mind.
That's awesome.
If somebody else happens to request a pumpkin, I got an extra one so we didn't miss out." And I was like, "Dude, that is awesome." So that's I got to tap through, or I got to blow my keg on my my pumpkin a little faster so I can pick up the Warlock from that he's got stashed away for me.
We've got to go in there and I'm gonna have to go in there and do a little promo pretty soon because he's got a. I'm not gonna say what it is. But, there's a new brewery that just started getting distributed in our area that I'm selling, and he's basically gonna bring it all in, and I hope he's gonna tap it all one night so that we can go in and start drinking. But I'll let you guys know about that.
Well, he also told me that he's going to do for me what you haven't been able to do yet. And this distributors as a whole. I didn't know that they were from the Cleveland area. And I was talking about that too. And he's like, "Oh, my dad's going back up there in a couple months." He's like, "If you want something from Great Lakes, let me know."
I knew you were going to say Great Lakes.
I was like, "I'll throw you the money for 3 or 4 cases and maybe some more because one of my used car managers, he'd like some too." So I'm probably Mark's probably going to bring me back a handful of cases of Christmas ale this year.
Oh, nice.
Dude, you know what's so funny? You know what's really funny? We talked about that on the podcast. I think like 2 or 3 podcasts ago to try to somehow get Great Lakes down here, and Mark is gonna do it. Dude, Mark is so awesome. I love that guy. He's so cool.
So it sounds like I'm able to get some Great Lakes Christmas ale down here. My used car director already said he'll throw some money at him too to get some down here. So I'm pretty excited. But,
one of the best ones.
Sidetrack, and before we close this thing out, I'll recap my beers for the night real quick. So the Evil Twin Brewing, the yet another Mexican coffee beer. Underwhelming. It's supposed to be an oatmeal stout with Mexican coffee, vanilla, and cinnamon. To me, a lot of stouts give me that coffee kind of taste. I can't say I got a whole lot of vanilla. I can't say I got any cinnamon. I mean, it was... I'm not going to say it was bland, but it was just a solid stout. I didn't really get what they were going with the Mexican coffee and stuff like that. I was hoping for a bit more of that Mexican coffee, chocolate with a little bit of cayenne kind of kick, and I didn't really get anything that I was hoping for.
Question for
Yeah.
you: do you know why it's called Evil Twin?
I don't know. I'm going to
The
assume
owner had
maybe
an evil
another
twin?
sibling has another brewery.
So the owner of Evil Twin opened Evil Twin because his brother owns McKellar Brewing, and they are at each other's throats and they hate each other. So he basically opened another brewery to compete against his own brother. So that's kind of I don't know why they hate each other, but it's a
hopefully
fun
the
story.
other brother was smart enough not to open up in the hellish state of New York, but
no, they're Danish.
It's the water.
I don't know where.
It's the water. That's why the beer is bad.
You know what?
I wouldn't say it's the water. The water up there is good coming out of the mountains. It's people in politics. But
I'm trying to
anyway,
remember where they open. Either way, I just thought.
Well,
you know what?
I mean,
I think it is. I think it's Queens, New York. Or that's where
Evil
Twin
Brewing is. Evil Brewing is
That's-
definitely in Queens.
That's where Evil Twin is. No, McKellar is
Interesting.
It's Danish. So
So
it's an
now
import.
the other one, the Boulevard Brewing Proper Pour, that's limited release guy. This is freaking delicious. They're not sitting there talking about crazy flavors, this and that. It's just pure old stout, double aged in Cabernet barrels and whiskey barrels. And I don't know. To me, when something's aged in a good barrel, the mouthfeel changes. It's got a fuller body. It's wonderfully motor oily looking. It's got a great kind of viscosity to it. This is a delicious beer.
Nice. Boulevard's
I
awesome.
would drink this time and time. Yeah, Boulevard makes some great stuff. Everything I've had from them is pretty good. This, though, being double aged in 2 different types of barrels, is wonderful.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I can get that kind of Cabernet too. I can that wine is there because I am a wine drinker as well, and some wine clubs and stuff like that. So I have no prejudices towards liquor for the most part, or alcohol of any sort. I'm a lover of it all. Except for vodka, I'm not a big vodka person.
You're probably out of all of us, you're probably the one person that is the most diverse in alcohol. I mean, granted, obviously we all love beer, craft beer. Yeah. We all love bourbons. I actually love rum because, so in my native country, or my parents' native country of Nicaragua, we actually have a really good. Yes, the beverage of my people. We actually have which Nick, I gave you a bottle of.
I got a bottle still, yeah.
Oh, do you still have it? Yeah, it's called Flor de Caña. So rum is.
Yeah,
I love rum.
I do.
Rum is really good. Yeah. I have way too many bottles. I have a 3-year, a 5-year, 7-year. I have an 18-year, which I have the 18-year at this point is probably maybe 20, 21 years because I haven't opened it because it's in a nice box and with a book and everything. My parents are actually over there, so I actually asked for more rum because why not? but yeah, I feel like you're probably out of all of us, you're the most diverse when it actually comes to alcohol because you I
just had a nice diverse experience growing up. My dad was a Scotch bourbon and a cognac guy, and that's how I found my love of cigars also with him. Yeah. My mom and dad both drank wine, and we made homemade wine in Jersey, the typical Guido shit. Surprise. We made our own sausages and shit. My dad did have some, his poolside beers and stuff like that. I went much farther into the craft side of things than he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just had a diverse, education in alcohol. My dad was big on try this. This is how this is made. This is the story behind this. This is why this one's smoky. Yeah. So I had as a kid, I had a cool as a teenager basically when I started drinking wine with dinner and stuff with the family. I just had a cool kind of education through alcohol, and I found what I liked and what I didn't like. Well, I love gin and tonics, good gin, not pine coney tasting gin. I love my my darker liquors, some rums, vodka, tequila, depends. But yeah, no, it's all got its place, time and place. Just a matter of what I'm in the mood for and what I'm feeling like that night.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. All right. So that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. For all of our regular listeners and viewers, thank you guys for the support. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to savor your brews and hit the road responsibly. Please hit the road responsibly. I know that we did talk about going to Mexico, but we have we do visit Mexico occasionally, not as often as we'd like, but occasionally. But don't forget to also hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe. Cheers to booze and cars, and we'll see you guys next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.